DPI
And the
has.
Office of Energy also has a
Okay.
website.
That can kind of explain it a little bit more, that link does. It talks about, from the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction. It talks about, you can, dig in there a little bit if you'd like to. And then, what else, Brent, was it?
The Office of Energy, Wisconsin Office of Energy is who Mosinee works for, and they have a website also.
I'll link those in there for you. I'll go back. Okay. Sorry, Mike.
That's right. Technology is slow.
Okay, we are on the school perceptions. You have,
Item
so, looking at questions that, do you wanna talk about this? Mike or Matt or Mike?
Go ahead, Matt.
I spoke to Sue Peterson in regards to the timeline of the climate and culture survey, and I also had a discussion with her about the athletics survey. And I realized she's selling this, but when I looked at, I was expecting to see a really large dollar figure associated with putting this through, and I don't think this is a giant moneymaker for them, but I do think it gives our coaches and our athletic director the ability to get feedback that, I know Zach has made some attempts to do this with, they weren't survey monkeys, but maybe a Google Docs type survey to be able to reach out to students and to reach out to parents, to receive feedback. I think this is a better vehicle to do that with a third party, same way we did the school climate and culture survey, to provide information to be able to either celebrate or take corrective action or make changes within our procedures. So I didn't look at every single question that gets asked, but she explained how that worked, and addressing communications issues, practice issues, timing issues, all the different things that affect a student athlete and their family. I thought it seemed like a very good, to me, investment on that part.
I tried to get, hi Brady.
Hi.
I tried to get Brady to run a report for me to see if he and Zach, to be able to identify. It's about $2.33 per athlete, per parent, the survey cost would be. So did you,
Yep, and I guess the question is the scope of the survey. One, is it going to just athletics? Because, we track activities. I guess I'm wondering at what would be the dividing line then. On the report I ran, it was for everything. So it included all the clubs. Some of our sports technically are clubs. Some of our clubs are just clubs. So I guess there need to be some definition of where that dividing line is.
because that number and with that in parents was like a $6,000 cost.
Yeah, and then it depends also, I don't know how if they do it multiple activities. So if a kid is in 3 sports, do they get 3 surveys? I don't know. I guess I'm just wondering what's the dividing line of.
So the reason I brought, it's $1.80, so here's the kind of the language, it's $1.80 per survey, and then plus 53 cents. So it's like $2.33 per survey. And that's kind of what the cost for our climate and culture survey got up to. What was that, Brent, 10,000?
The community survey was
The
10.
community
other
survey
one
was 10,000.
was, I want to say 3,000.
3,000, okay,
That's what I would weigh. 3,500 sticks in my craw.
okay.
We don't have an electronic means of communicating this to those parents and students. The student athletes, obviously, we do, because they each have a email within the school. Parents, we don't reach out to them through athletics via email.
We
Oh.
do have the
Eliminate that
ability.
cost.
We do have the ability to mine that out of Skyward. Like I could get you an email
Yeah.
list. Now that's not
Take the 53
100%,
cents
but
off?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the $1.80, because that's his surveys mailed at a rate of $1.80 per survey.
yeah, we for sure have the ability to mine out.
Okay.
Definitely.
If you participate in athletics, here's the list of
Figured we would, but
yes.
yeah, he was just, I turned to Brady just because I couldn't figure out we do a annual report that we have to report to the DPI, how many kids are in athletics, how many kids are in clubs.
Yeah, we've got all that in Skyward already. It just still
So you
boils
can
down. I don't
pull
know
that.
what the parameters are, Matt, of if it goes, if you're in 3 sports, do you get 3 separate links, or is the idea that you are in, you know, that survey encompasses everything that you're doing?
Couldn't you filter that down to throw the duplicates out?
Oh, we for sure could. I just
Yeah.
don't know if school perceptions, how it's, I guess how it's set up in there to say,
And how it launches.
do they want 3 links sent out? Do they want this one
I
specific
think
to
we
this
asked-
sport?
we
Yeah,
could- we
the
could
only
ask
part of
that
the
question.
conversation is that, I don't know what bottom line cost for you, I'm sorry. Off of the information I was given, and this is all the information I was given, I can't tell you, Diane, this is gonna cost you $252, I can't. I mean, I don't know the cost.
What's driving this?
I think,
Are we just in love with school perceptions now, or is there an issue that we're trying to?
No, I addressed at a meeting, first, I think you were selling yourself.
How is?
Um,
I look
I
forward to
addressed at a
it.
meeting that when we met and put the climate and culture survey together, we left out athletics and all extracurricular activities. That wasn't a measurable anything on it. And Ann had addressed at that was the first time I heard of that school perceptions has an athletic extracurricular component, which is a whole separate entity, and that we would look at that, and I think that's what we did.
Just because?
I personally think there's value in it.
So Corey, if you're, Zach's not even aware of this, so Zach hasn't,
Zach's not involved in this?
No, he's not. But.
Well, why wouldn't he
Zach's
be
not
involved? He
here
sees
tonight.
it on the,
Well, I'm just saying Zach has not brought this forward. Zach hasn't seen the questions. Zach doesn't know anything about this. We have not gone to Zach. This is coming from Matt. It's not coming from the coaches, it's not coming from the athletes, it's not coming from Zach.
oh, it's
not
coming from the board. And it, just like the climate and culture survey came from the
Yes.
board.
I'm just answering Corey's question.
Yeah. I'm helping.
Okay.
The value position is a third-party objective view, the athletic experience, that's what I'm hearing, is that kind of a correct assessment?
Yeah, I think Zach has, I know as a parent of a student athlete, I've received some surveys. And I know that the student athletes that have received the surveys struggle with, which would be the same thing with a climate and culture survey with our staff. We use that third party because there's an anonymity protection in using that third party that the parents and the students, especially the student athletes, are like, I'm not filling this out to evaluate a coach that's information going right back to them. I think this is an opportunity to provide information to the school district to evaluate all our extracurricular activities.
You're saying extracurricular, so you need to tie in, because we, recreated the handbook, the student handbook, to include extracurricular, meaning everything, not just sports.
Right.
That would be like
So-
drama, remember?
Right,
Plays.
band.
Yeah, I mean, some kids want to play basketball, other kids want to do a musical.
Right.
So you're trying to
They both
encompass that.
have school staff that's facilitating, and
Yep.
that's part of their job to perform
And
that
that was one of the things that Matt and I talked about is, when we look at our current coaches, we have 34% that aren't a part of our staff. So did it make sense to make it a part of the climate culture, and tonight we are hosting a great big track meet, so that's what Zach is doing, is helping with the track meet tonight.
Standing in the rain.
Yeah.
We also speak of the relevance and importance of athletics within the school and the qualities in the individuals who are participating. Tend to have better grades, it's not a big expense within the district. It's just, but it's also a large area within the district where if you really want to take a look at everything, let's take a look at it.
I can appreciate those opinions. Aren't we in a position though, coming off the field, representing these squeezing pennies?
You can also take it, what does the public think, what's the perception gonna be of our gym times? We don't touch on that, we hear the what's critical, but, you can capture some data points that help support it too again. Maybe that weren't supported in the past, or,
Yeah, well, the athletic community, I think, failed miserably in providing support to referendum. my opinion, but I think that what I hear from the community is that they don't really give a damn about the gym times. I mean, I was supportive of it, I know what the gym times do to families and especially young kids, but I don't think the voting bloc didn't.
Well, I think it was, to use your words, Corey, I got the impression that the voting community didn't give a damn about any of our issues across the board, whether it was a gym or facilities related issues.
I'm just, I'm not big on surveys. I
know that, Cory.
don't see the, I don't, personally don't see the need, but I get it.
I'm more interested in our educational staff and our educational facet of our school and perception. That's where I'm more interested in. The sports element is a second to me.
What's on the table is a $500 expense annually is really what it would be.
I don't
Well,
know what that expense is.
No.
Well,
I think I could come back with a cost, but I don't
yeah,
know
I
that today.
don't think we're in a position right now with the data that we have to be able to make a decision on that. Because the numbers you were quoting were different than when I had a conversation with Sue about the timeline of the other one, and she talked to me about this survey.
This is the only
I got-
information I've
I got the
received.
impression we would be spending in the hundreds, not the thousands. So I would absolutely like more information on that.
Keep in mind, the timeline isn't as critical as the second, because the second survey, we want to get that out before summer break.
That's different.
So this is going to parents and student athletes, they can respond to a survey in the middle of summer, you know, or at the beginning of the school year, if we decide. So I would argue we should table it, understand the cost, understand what percentage of our student athletes and parents we can grab through some
Yep.
mining efforts on emails and things, just to understand the cost better.
Well, and if Sue Peterson were to come up here as part of additional work, we use school perceptions, we could ask her to give a presentation on this topic and give us a better flavor of what it is.
So,
I'll second that motion.
I didn't make a motion, but I'm gonna right now.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion, we table 11A, discussion and possible decision, approval of contract with school perceptions for athletic survey until such time as we understand costs further.
do we have an ability to ask those questions? Because I can definitely mine that information out of Skyward to help and have a firm number if we know if it's, the survey is just, one survey for everyone, and then I guess the second question is, at what scope are we going through all extracurriculars, the drama clubs, the band,
Because
all
you
those
have
things.
several people that are, like, and the athlete could have, I could be in play, I could be in basketball. I could
Right,
be in
one person
softball,
could
I
have
be in-
5 surveys, I don't know how they do that,
Person,
but that
yeah.
question, and then if we're gonna encompass everyone, then I can get you a firm number, here's 4,000 kids that technically, that are in a sport, or whatever it might be.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Matt Alice, the table,
I'll second.
and we have a second by Kevin Field, the table. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 11B, possible discussion and possible decision, approval of timeline for school climate and culture survey for staff.
I'll make the motion, we approve the timeline and the school climate and culture survey for the staff, timeline as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor by Matt Alice and a second by Diane Gorman for the timeline of school climate and culture and survey for the staff. Any other discussion?
So is this anything different than what we've done already?
No, I think it's going to be the same. We discussed this last meeting, Cory,
Okay.
and
Wasn't it?
I think Matt and Diane and Matt Barnes are going to be on the committee.
And I'm sorry, it has to be pretty much exactly the same.
It's the
Yeah.
same.
It will be,
Measure.
Yes.
That's my
it will
question.
be, because we
I know
want
that.
That was my question.
Yeah,
It's just- it's
I
the
didn't
same.
understand.
Compare apples to apples.
Yep,
Okay.
yeah, you can't
So,
ask.
yeah, you can't change because then you got your comparatives.
And you
Yeah.
compare it to.
Okay, and then is this something we're doing annually now? That what we're planning on doing?
We voted on doing it. and
You want to visit it?
I don't think we're making that decision, I think it's results based. You know, let's see what it tells us.
That answers my questions.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 12, new business, discussion and possible, acceptance of the statement of the Board of Canvas. Item A.
I'll make the motion to accept the statement on the board of the canvassers.
I'll second. I wanted to second with my name signed over.
Somebody make a summary of this, what's this really mean?
I mean, votes were cast for who?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is what.
And what?
Yeah,
this is
if you read it, this is what they voted on.
It's the results period,
Yep.
right?
Right.
The official results?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was
We have a motion on the floor by Kelly Zebro and a second by Diane Gorman. Any other discussion?
Yep. So I don't like writing letters to the editor, but since this is a public meeting, really frustrated with the results. You know, as a board, we're elected to represent. We believe we're making all the right decisions for our students and the community. We made some adjustments from the first go-round of the referendum. Maybe we didn't make enough adjustment to cost. Maybe cost is all that really matters in this town. I'm not sure, and this can be published in the Mosinee Times, that's fine. Put it in the minutes. We segmented out the field house. We increased the information sharing. What are our results? 40% yes, 60% no. I hear all the comments from all the really intellects within our community and the letters that they write and pass within the community. And I think, okay, great opportunity for them to change the composition of this board. We have 2 people running opposed, 1 person running unopposed. However, there's always an opportunity for a write-in. What does our community do? Does nothing to change the composition of the board. So if they don't trust our decision-making, please run us out of office. Because it's frustrating as heck to spend the amount of time we spent doing the things that we're doing and get the same results. That's it.
Thank you, Matt.
Well said, Matt. Well said.
Anyone else have any other discussion points? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 12B, discussion and possible decision, approval of the fee change of 2016-17. I think there is 3 or 4.
Motion to approve as presented.
I second.
We have a motion on the floor by Corey Tomczyk and a second by Caroline Krautkramer. Any other discussion?
Just a quick question, the parking permit at the high school, we don't give that back anymore, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
We keep it,
Correct.
even though it's not our parking lot.
Part of it is.
Part of it is.
Yeah, a big part of it
Do
is.
they, can they park in part of it and not have to get a permit? Well, I'm just asking.
I'm pretty sure my kid's got a parking ticket and
during
all
the-
different components of that.
During the school day, that
It's
whole
considered
parking
our
is
parking
considered
lot.
school property.
Okay, because one of the questions that,
7:50 to 3:12, it's considered.
well, one of the questions that came up was if they're using a different vehicle, what do they need to do, or, I mean,
If tickets,
if they take,
that hang on your,
Right, I think
So
it's
basically
Replace
just-
it, move it,
Yeah,
take
you
it
just
to the
move
other
it.
vehicle.
oh, so that's all they gotta do, so it's not
Yeah.
like an actual,
No,
okay,
it's
okay.
just a little
those
window.
things that hang on your rear.
You look at our parking permit fee is $10 compared to 40s, 50s, 60s, hundreds, 200s.
Pay for a new school.
Yeah. Exactly.
Kevin said it was the 75.
Yeah, average 75.
We'll get a new chemistry room.
Oh, they are.
Their parking lot isn't
Yeah,
very nice.
Corey
Is that too soon?
Okay.
Carolyn.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item C12, recognition of Mosinee School District alumni. This is kind of my pet peeve, or not peeve, I should say,
That project.
project. I think we should get a list of all our alumni that went through this school, where they are, just like the university kind of. They bring these people in, and these are our founders, or our helping founders. I would like to recognize the Kresges and the Kresge family, all they've done for us, and develop this. I think it'd be a big asset for
Thinking
most.
of a display of some kind?
like the Athletic Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
I think is what he has in mind, is that we would recognize alumni and have an alumni Hall of Fame.
Where are they now?
Where are they now?
And have an annual submission that people could submit and say, you know, I'd like to recognize Haley Seafield for her contributions. And then I would put her in, and there would be a process that the community, that a committee would go through. So we have seen this at WASB and at some of the conferences that we go to. A number of schools do presentations for alumni, and I think Mike would like action on this.
Stevens Point, our state university. And they bring in these people and keep them in touch with the school.
I would say that while I was at a meeting at the Wausau School District recently, and I stepped into their boardroom and I was admiring how nice it is. On the back wall, on the west side of that room, they have alumni from the Wausau School District that have made significant accomplishments in whatever their field is. And there's a picture of them and a small explanation of what their accomplishments were that contributed to society or the school district or whatnot. And I found it pretty interesting to sit there and look at the individuals that went through their school district and to see where they are now. I think that's a worthwhile project.
So,
Where's this gonna go?
I would ask for a motion.
It's not.
It's only a development committee. Oh, it's just discussion?
Mike, do you have any idea, you know, what would be a budget for something like this?
Well, it couldn't be a budget.
And there's no incurred cost potentially.
Not really, other than plaques or if they would do like a homecoming thing and reach out to these people and tell them, come on to our homecoming. You know, I think the university would always have a refreshment area, but no hard liquor.
Like Joe.
Okay, I guess we should maybe, if we want to, bring it back for, I see there is discussion and all. We'll move on. So if you're gonna bring it back, would this be all right with everybody? Okay, so we'll move on to item 13, Curriculum and Standards Committee Meeting Report. Report A, April meeting. Richard?
We had a request for students to travel to Beijing, China, miss one school day to get to the airport, and they're gonna fly over there. That's coming up next. Shanghai, Beijing, Great Wall, and some other Chinese cities that I can't pronounce. Well, I embarrass myself by attempting. From Wen Ding, our Chinese language teacher. We're pretty fortunate to have a fully certified Chinese teacher in our district. It's one of our many exemplary programs, and you don't find them many places around the state. Did a little update on professional development that reflected the same update I gave to the board the previous month. And then I brought an update to the Mosinee Summer School because we were rolling the registration off of that the next day. So we've got that going right now. As of today, we had just shy of 2,000 student classes.
It's about 450 kids.
450 kids. 450 to 500 kids have signed up so far, and that closes this week. So I'll update the board as that rolls out.
How many days is the field trip?
Field trip is approximately 8 days with travel, $3,300 per student. So there's quite a high level of interest already. What's that?
You said
Next spring break, right. So we're over a year out, about a year out.
motion approved. I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor by Corey Tomczyk and a second by Mark Lewis. Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, we insured, or Brent, how are we covered if there were, or Mr. Lynn, how are we covered if there's any issues that arise while kids are in China?
This trip was going through that EF Tours. They provide these services to districts all across the country and probably the world, so they take care of all the organization. We've got policies and procedures in place to check, to make sure it's safe for our students, as do they. And they have refund policies and things available for that, as well as optional insurance that people can. So that's one of the reasons they like to go through those professional touring companies,
Yeah.
because it takes a lot of the liability and insurance issues away from us.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, that's a lot of miles to travel to China, like going up to Shanghai and all that. And the wall.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 14, Corey.
Our building committee met tonight, we heard a brief update on the MCAA sports complex. Yard is of course coming, as we all know. This year it's really all dirt moving and culvert placement, managing the water, building plans at this time in northern Willard. We heard about environmental testing results that North Star did on the air quality in the middle school. No actionable items were found there. I was surprised by that.
Yeah.
Current time, that air is good. As Steve pointed out, though, that air is really sucked in from a different part of the building because of the age and design. So if it were its own enclosed area, it might be a different result, but we won't know that.
Is there a plan to do that testing at multiple times during the year, or?
I can have it
I
done.
don't know how that impacts air, other than, winter air in a house and how a house functions as opposed to the hot, humid time during the year.
I just did the one test, we can always have them come back. But my biggest concern was to get it while they're in occupancy, we have the students in there. So that was my biggest telltale. If you took that test in summertime when no students are there, you're gonna have a higher humidity, but you're not gonna have a lot of CO and issues like that.
Okay.
Steve also talked to us about the LED retrofit for the elementary school, and that was also presented to the finance committee. Really cool LED stuff, and that's great payback savings. He also gave a report to us on the upgrades for the 1960 and 1965 electrical panels in the high school, and he's going out for bids for that.
We have the bids.
Oh, we have the bids.
Yes.
We have the
So we're moving forward with that. And all those panels are no longer manufactured, can't get parts for them, can't safely lock them out. Something that would have been done had we passed referendum, now it's gonna get done.
Should I assume, Corey, that you guys are in support of both of these projects?
Very much
Ones
so.
we also looked at.
Very much. That's pretty much it.
Thank you, Corey.
Let's not get too many of those projects done before we get all this state funding. We
Right,
might be too efficient.
we agree.
Well, one of the two projects
Is, the LED is the,
Is that,
It's
that state
Plus?
project.
LED is that
Plus?
process,
Or just cost.
One,
Hopefully we're cost plus.
one of the actual items that did come from it was a request for all the major, call it project improvements that might have been on the back burner pending the referendum, so that we can revisit and prioritize. I would pair all of that list with the initiative that you guys just brought to the table here, and bring that to the board for decision.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, Kevin. Item 15, personnel.
Personnel committee met at 5:30. I'll just go through the items. Item 15A, discussion and possible decision approval of middle school general music teacher hire. The committee moved forward with that motion and accepted the hiring of Brock Kuklinski, so I'll make the motion that we approve the middle school general music teacher hire. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Item 15B, discussion and possible decision approval of director of instruction hire. And feel free to update the group in terms of discussion, but there will be no action taken at this time on that item this evening.
We're continuing to work on, we conducted interviews, we're continuing at this point to work on that hire. We hope to have a recommendation to come forward within the next, by the next board meeting.
The time is waiting till the next board meeting, will that won't be a problem?
You have a reorganization meeting that it may be able to be a part of, is what I was hoping for, I'm sorry.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, hoping. Mhm.
Okay, item 15C is discussion and possible decision reduction of 3 and approval of 3 temporary special education teacher assistants for the 17-18 school year. Currently, we have 6. They're all temporary. We have to repost, have them reapply. We plan to keep 3 at this point. We made the motion to approve, so I'll make the motion that we approve the reduction of 3 and approval of 3 temporary special education teacher assistants for the 2017-2018 school year.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries as well. Item D is discussion and possible decision approval of special education staffing for the 2017-2018 school year. Some discussion on this item based on the student composition within the schools. There's been some reorganization within the special education group. Ultimately, there's going to be some cost to the district, however, a cost within the budget. We did as a committee agree to approve this. I will make the motion, we approve the special education staffing for the 17-18 school year.
I'll say that.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Anyone on this board want to know more about the reorganization there?
It would be nice.
Okay, I can't speak eloquently to that. There is a document. And if you want to talk about the reorganization,
Sure,
feel free.
absolutely. Any questions on that?
Yeah, Kevin.
Kevin, I'm sorry, Kevin, go ahead.
Blank sheet of paper, tell me what's going on there.
So special education staffing, I shared this in the link in your packet. So the district is reducing 2 full-time special education teachers and restructuring a position through a reassignment of one of the teachers. So we kind of outlined how that happened. One intellectual disability teacher at the high school has been reassigned to the emotional behavioral disability at the high school. One high school emotional behavioral disability was reduced through the resignation. So we had a resignation of a EBD teacher at the high school, and it was determined by the team not to rehire that position due to the decline of student needs and the restructuring of staff at the high school. Our middle school emotional behavioral disability teacher was reduced through a resignation. Wanted to just clearly outline that so people knew that that occurred through a resignation. And we're then restructuring the middle school staffing and have determined we will not rehire that staff person. But we looked at what our needs were at the elementary school, and we do have a really high need for our speech and language. Number of students that we have, analyze the amount of minutes in the IEPs, and we do need another speech and language therapist. In addition, we took a very close look at our EBD needs or emotional behavioral disability needs at the elementary level. And with some restructuring of that program, we do need another EBD teacher to have self-contained classrooms for students who can't be integrated out into the classroom on some days in some situations. The severity of our needs at the elementary have increased. So we're looking at having a self-contained classroom support with that teacher. Of course, we always choose to have least restrictive environment. So as much as we can, we have the students out and with their peers. But there is a pretty severe need at our elementary school. In addition, the funding has changed for how we use our special ed dollars, and can we use part of what we call Mary's budget to be able to support the reading needs of our students with disabilities, and we can. So we looked at how could we really impact our students with special needs at the elementary school, and we felt that by having that certified reading teacher working on very specific reading strategies with those students, that would be incredibly helpful. Rather than having an emotional behavioral disability teacher focusing on the content and teaching those skills, we actually have a specialist that could work with those kids and teach those skills. So, after months of working with the entire staff, this is a recommendation that they're bringing forward to restructure and to hire the following positions pre-K-12.
I think you said there's like a $51,000 gap that Mary's budget will have to
Correct.
add to this, yep. And we did have a savings, yes, there will.
Thank you for the summary.
Sure.
I just, as I'm listening to you talk through that, is it a fair assessment to say that the number of kids requiring these services in the elementary school and high school has declined while it's increased in the elementary school, or is that not a fair
I
assessment?
think it depends on the month, Matt. Do you know what I mean? Nate's needs go up, and then we'll have a student move in or move out. But we're definitely seeing increased needs at our lower elementary. Definitely, in our younger grades, we're definitely seeing higher emotional behavioral disabilities, an increase in those numbers. I would say an increase in the severity of those children as well. Agree, Katie?
Agreed.
And then when you look at what their needs are, it's not only that social and emotional behavioral disability, but then they also have a very difficulty with reading. And so Dr. Garby, who is our reading coordinator, really looked at that and said to Mary, we really need somebody specifically working with those students. And it's great to have the behavioral support, but I've got to have somebody who can teach the academic part of the reading strategies. So then we looked at, well, you need that, how do you fund that? And the laws changed in this past school year so that they allow us to use some of that special ed funding for more than just a special ed teacher, for other academic support. So it's a win-win. And I thank you guys, because I know this was hours of work, and I know from your spreadsheets, you've gone through every single child, and you know every minute of their IEP, and you know what services they need. So I appreciate you going back week after week after week and getting those answers for us.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. We did not have anything further for items E and F, so
Well,
back to you, Mr. President.
I'll have a little extra. We hired our new administrative
We
secretary.
did, absolutely.
I would like to introduce Miss Alex. And she's a very capable person, and she'll be working with all of us. And I really enjoyed the interview with you. It was very special. Thank you
I'm
for
very excited to be part of the group.
This is our new Jamie.
Don't agree to that too.
It said Jamie or Jamie a lot.
Right.
I'll try and get it right. It's Amy, Jamie.
I think we might want to recognize that we've disappointed Josh's team quite a bit. So Amy
Why,
was
you
the
wanted
middle
the
school
job?
secretary.
I wanted to keep her in her current job.
So she's a job.
But we're very
shadow.
happy for her in middle school too.
And
This is,
should be a great.
this is all dependent upon approving Jamie's retirement, right?
No, I think we did that already.
You missed that?
You did.
We missed a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we did that for you. Sorry.
That is true.
You guys
Okay,
screwed up. I'm telling you.
No.
item 16, Finance Committee meeting report, Carolyn.
Okay, we started a meeting this evening at 5:30, and the first thing on their agenda was the approval of the voucher list. We went through it, and Brent highlighted some of the items and explained them, so and we all said that it was good, so I would like to have I make a motion that we approve the voucher list.
I'll second.
Jamie, roll call please.
Kaiser,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Thiel,
Yep.
Tomcheck,
Yes.
Zebro,
Yes.
Alice,
Yes.
Barnes,
Aye.
Hewes,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
all yes.
Thank you. The next item on our list was the treasurer's report. We went through that. There's no changes or major changes on it. Everything looks good, so I'd like to make a motion that we approve the treasurer's report.
I'll second.
Roll call please.
Zebro,
Yes.
Alice,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
Hewes,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Kaiser,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Thiel,
Yep.
Tomcheck,
Yes.
all yes.
Okay, item 15C was the insurance cooperative agreement. And this is an agreement that we have with a cooperative where we buy all of our insurance from. And Brent went over that, and Brent is also on the board, so if you have any questions, you can go right to him. It is a huge savings in our insurance by belonging to this group. And there is a cost is the $2,000 a year.
And we developed, we're a 60 conglomerate now instead of 20.
Oh, yes, that's right, it's up to 60 schools that are now
We
in the
rejoined that.
consortium, yeah.
And the cost of 2,000 is not a new expense to the district, it's
No,
actually
it's
a reduction
Yep.
compared to what we've been paid previously, so.
Yeah, exactly.
So now with this insurance, only because of past experience, I've heard some of the employees, it always sounds wonderful when presented to us.
This is property
This is
Oh, this is
casualty,
it,
liability,
okay,
workers'
good, yeah,
comp.
thank you. Never mind.
And let's put it this way, this insurance, if you look at how it's stable in cost, it's a pleasure dealing with this in comparison to health insurance and,
So I'm going to do this with
Mr.
your.
Trump isn't too worried about health property insurance, but health insurance.
Is this something that
are
just
Achilles heel.
started, or?
No, we've been doing it for
We've been
15
doing
plus
it, you're
years.
just increasing
I
the
don't know if
amount
it's
of.
So there's just more districts coming in?
Yeah, we're merging
Okay.
cooperatives.
Okay, I got you.
That's why it's coming to you, because
Okay.
it's
I
changing.
think
Because otherwise they don't bring it up there.
There's a CISA that's, gonna be the administrator.
Yep, CISA 6 is involved in it. And actually has been involved in it too, by the way.
So I'd like to make a motion that we accept this policy. Looking for a second.
I'll second it.
Motion made and second that we accept the insurance cooperative with the cost of around $2,000 per year for us. Do we need this as a, okay, all in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion carried.
There's one on.
Nobody says it.
nobody opposed it.
It passes. Unanimous.
Say something.
Aye.
Okay. To 15D, middle school playground equipment expansion with the PTO donation.
And on behalf of the PTO would like to present the district with a $12,000 check for playground equipment for the middle school. And the checks in the mail.
Excellent work.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Thompson, on that.
Still my pocket.
Approval on that? I'll make a motion that we approve that.
Sure.
The
We have a breakdown of the cost, which is in your documentation. So with it will still cost the district $15,327. And we also have a little picture, kind of like what the playground equipment will look like. So if you just want to look in your documentation.
The merry-go-round, apparently, that we'll be purchasing is a much safer version of the merry-go-round that we were all used to. I realize that doesn't sound like as much fun, but Brent assures me that for our liability, it's important that we get a less fun merry-go-round.
So I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead with the middle school playground equipment.
I'll say,
Barnes made the motion.
Okay, oh, thank you.
Well, you can second.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Sorry, Mike.
that's right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. They all vote aye. Okay. 15E. This is, now this is what Corey had talked about before, which is the panels, the electrical panels.
No, this is energy.
Oh, energy.
Elementary school.
Okay, this is the energy efficiency project. This is the project that goes along with what, yeah, what Megan was talking about. And so do we have to do anything on this stuff?
You have to approve it.
You have to approve it. Just approve it. Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this project.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made and second that we approve the project for the energy efficiency project, which goes with what Megan was talking about with state energy.
Then the administration will come back with a proposal.
No, this is a standalone item.
Oh, this
This is
standalone?
one we're bringing forward.
This is
Okay.
the one we're doing.
This is the one we're bringing
Yeah,
forward.
this is already
Bringing
ready,
this
but-
one forward.
Element.
So the total project cost is $151,651, so.
The 6-year payback on this is pretty impressive.
And the quality,
I'm not,
quality lights gonna be there.
And more importantly for our teachers, they're gonna be able to dim and brighten their
Like the
lights.
lights.
You guys have any idea what would have happened to me if you
Instead
did
of
the
having
lights
to,
while I was in
all
school?
your home battery nights.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Great electrical panel.
Electrical panels.
Yeah.
That is the electrical panels that Corey was talking about before with a cost of $32,500, which is the Newton Electric, and I'd like to make a motion that we accept it.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that we accept Newton Electric cost on doing the panel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 15G, the SAN IT storage system server purchase, and this is purchasing an additional server to put data on,
We tabled that.
which we table at this point because we have we table.
Thank you, Caroline. Other reports, WASBA, upcoming meetings?
Yes, we have the welcome gathering in Marathon. And that is, it is for new members, but everybody is welcome there. And that is Thursday, April 20th at 7 to 9. And I know you don't have to pre-register or anything, I think, for that, right, Jeannie? That's what it shows here. So, and it's in the library. If anybody wants more information, can ask me or Jeannie. And then the WASB is having their spring academic workshops, May 16th in Town Hall. And did say we are going to kind of have our own workshop.
right, that's kind
Yes,
of
Bob
on the
Butler is
same-
May 2nd.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, so, well,
Plus it's a neighborhood.
it's never a board meeting anyway, so. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Kelly. Okay, item B, 17B, correspondence from CISA 9, monthly meeting, should be on the internet, and let's have a printed copy.
Should be an awesome meeting.
It is. Okay, future agenda items, item 18.
Don't know how to address this, but I had been contacted by 2 4K sites about, they were seeming a little bit surprised at what we voted on and that they weren't included in on the meeting. So, I don't know, I said I would bring it to the table tonight and look at it. Do we contact them, let them come and speak?
Oh, we've met with them. Yeah, Katie is our 4K coordinator.
So do I
she's,
tell them that they, I mean,
We'd
I
be,
guess-
Katie and I'd be happy to meet again with them.
okay.
Yeah, because what it sounded like in part of the email is that they were under the assumption that they were coming to the full board.
Yes, they said they were requested to attend the board meeting or know when it was coming, they had no idea that we had to approve that. And they would like to offer some input, and they would have been here had they known it was on the agenda. So that was their concern.
I just seem to remember that Ann reported that she had talked to all the sites.
Well, but
They
I'm
did
hearing
say
from
that,
2 of the
yeah.
sites today, I mean, they both were very concerned because their numbers are really down.
And Ann told us that the numbers were going to
Right. And they weren't under the same understanding that they thought it was, so.
We did meet with them. Katie, I mean, we did meet with them. All of our agendas are published, all of the issues are public.
Were they invited to the board
Okay.
meeting? Were they aware that this was gonna be brought up at a board meeting? I guess is my question.
I think you'd have to ask them, but have we met with them and told them?
Right,
Yes,
no,
we
they,
did.
they agreed that they were met
Yes.
with, but they felt
Yes,
like they,
I
you know,
agree with
they
that.
were not presented with the idea that it was gonna come to the full board. So my question is, where do we take it from there? Because I was one of the ones that did vote no, so I can't bring anything back. It'd have to be somebody that either, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, didn't vote on it and or voted the other way for it.
I believe they had all the information. I mean, and that's not what we do. Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's not what I do is, yeah, we brought forward to you all of the information that we did. I wouldn't have, you know, that's why we hire a 4K coordinator, that's why you hire me, to bring the recommendations forward to you.
Right, well, they were just talking that they were looking to lay off some positions at some of the sites. One of them might even close. And that was their concern right now. So how do we address that with them right now?
Well, I've met with them, and I would be happy to meet with them again, and I did meet with St. Paul's. They only had 3 students
Right.
enrolled. I mean,
Right.
that's not something, I'm not in the business to have their business be a business. I'm in the business of educating children.
Right,
So-
but my question is, that was one of my main concerns. I think some of the ones that voted no is, we might be shutting down businesses that have supported us before and our children.
The difficult part is we didn't control how many sessions we were gonna give them. And it goes back to treating it like another grade and giving them an opportunity to have a first selection, second selection, third selection. So now you have one location that I'm aware of that's kind of an in-between now. They have a student count that doesn't support 3 sections, but it's too big for 2. So they don't know what to do.
But we've offered some solutions to them.
But the best thing to do would have said, okay, how many sessions are you gonna give us? How many sessions are you gonna give us? And then we build,
Right, we did the best
Around
thing
it.
that we felt we could do,
I
and we
think-
came forward to the board and this item.
and I was a no vote on it too, so.
Right, I mean, I think what they were looking more as, from my understanding, that the emails that they sent me were the fact that they were hoping that we would have put a cap on it. Because they said, I think they believe that we were at 40.
We've met with them and we've gone through this and we've discussed this with them. If you, I mean, we meet with them every single month, so we'll be happy to meet with them again.
Okay. Do we, I mean, I'm looking for the people that voted yes. Are you concerned at all and want to bring this back?
It's probably the first thing.
What was it?
It may be the first anyone's hearing of it.
Right.
Well, it was a concern of mine, it definitely was. It was a concern of mine, and I didn't know which way truly to vote. I guess I was kind of, when we first opened that position, it was gonna be a temporary, one class. So I'm really torn in between, and I guess if they want to come talk to the board, you know what I mean? I guess I don't know what they want either. I know they talk to
would direct them
you.
to work with us, I really would, because I think that that's our protocol, otherwise you're gonna have every
Right.
single vendor coming forward.
And I do get that, Ann, and I truly do,
Sure.
but now they're reaching out to board members and saying this wasn't done, that wasn't done. So you always have that open line, he said, she said.
We
I know
did
St.
meet
Paul's
with
has
them.
talked to twice.
No, I'm not, it's not just
Okay,
St.
but
Paul's
just-
Clay, there's
But
two
we
of
went
them.
to every single site.
And I believe you do, I really do.
Communication happened, and they made decisions.
We post our meetings.
Yeah.
Again, the difficult part is, within the walls of our school, it's a controlled environment. We know how many students we should be receiving, we know what our class sizes should be, and we can divide the kids up equally.
Yeah.
Where these locations are really stumbling right now is the class the enrollment isn't optimal to their class size. So,
And we have numerous parents that want to be at our site, so.
we have numerous parents who want this first grade teacher and this first grade teacher. The numerous parents don't always get what they want.
And that's not,
We
we're
bus
here to
those
provide a
kids,
great
we bus those
educational.
kids to all those locations.
Anything else?
We're still on future agenda items, is that correct?
Right.
With the failed referendum, my mind goes, we need a plan. Where are we now, where we need to go? And somehow, we need to formulate a plan, and I think that needs to be a collaborative effort between the administration and this board. How can we draft potentially a mechanism for us to establish a plan for 1 year out, 5 years out? What does that look like, and how is that gonna impact, not only us fiscally, but, other impacts? The only way that I could see linking that was to get a master list of all the projects and all the issues that were reestablished and to prioritize them, bucketize them, and put a monetary number to them, and identify the status as a need or a want, and prioritize them as a board.
And so, but I understand your need for planning, Kevin. At the moment, I don't have much of a stomach to discuss that stuff. And the reason for that is not because I don't think the need's gone away, but the only path forward that I see is, all right, we start talking about the lists. We have the master list, because that's what we were talking about for all those meetings, for all those months, years, 2 years. We have the list. So now it's gonna come down to this body deciding what each person's favorite project is and how we're gonna pay for it. I'm meeting out for a while. Mosinee's voted, they get what they get.
But we care, unfortunately, it appears Mosinee doesn't. So that's the difference. And I'm meeting out too. I mean, this time it was beyond frustrating. You know, it's beyond frustrating that this thing just failed and we have a public forum at the onset of our meeting and no one shows up to tell us why it failed. You know, we have public meetings and no one shows up. Or I don't say no one. People show up, but not thousands of people.
Not well attended.
Right, it's just very difficult. And I feel for the kids
Yeah.
and the students.
And the staff.
Right.
So my recommendation would be that, yes, there has to be a point in time that we discuss those things. I'm not sure I'm ready to do it in the next month without being inappropriate, so that's all I can say about that. You're rubbing off on me, Corey.
Any other agenda items for the talk? If not, item 19, movement into closed executive session. The board will go into closed executive session in the section 19.85, trend 1, trend 1 of the for the purpose of discussing the superintendent's performance evaluation and compensation for the superintendent for the 17th school
Good night, guys.
all in favor?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.